It's been almost 20 years since Miranda Priestly ruled the fashion world with nothing more than a cold glance and a single word that could shatter confidence. Her name was whispered in fear, her approval was begged for, and her power stretched far beyond the glossy pages of Runway magazine. But time has passed and the world of fashion has changed. Social media rules the headlines, trends are born and die in a matter of hours, and influence no longer belongs only to the powerful few. Yet, as the trailer for The Devil Wears Prada 2 reveals, some legends never fade, and Miranda Priestly is not done teaching the world who truly runs fashion. The trailer opens with silence, the kind of silence that weighs heavy in the air, as if the world itself is waiting. Then we hear it, the sharp click of high heels against marble floors. Each step grows louder, echoing like a drumbeat of authority. A single door swings open, light spilling across the floor, and there she is, Miranda Priestly. Older, sharper, and perhaps even more dangerous than before. Her hair is perfectly white, her style untouchable, and her eyes carry the same icy fire that terrified assistants years ago. With just one glance, the room falls silent, as though the world itself still bows to her. But this is not the same Miranda Priestly we once knew. The trailer teases her new battlefield, a fashion empire that is no longer just about magazines and runways. Now, Miranda faces an industry consumed by influencers, algorithms, and endless content that threatens to outshine the very elegance she has built her career upon. We see flashes of her staring down massive digital billboards scrolling through. Glowing screens that showcase names she has never heard before, people who dare to call themselves tastemakers. Her expression never changes, but her silence tells us everything. The Queen of Fashion is not ready to surrender her throne, not to social media, not to anyone, and then, just as her presence begins to settle, the trailer cuts to a familiar voice. Sachs, no longer the naive assistant who stumbled into the fashion world by accident. Andy's voice now carries strength, experience, and a touch of defiance. Fashion has changed, Miranda, but have you? The words linger, sharp as glass, as though they are meant not just for Miranda, but for us, the audience, daring us to imagine the clash that is about to unfold. The trailer continues with rapid cuts, flashing images of Andy standing at the head of a conference table, reporters scribbling furiously, the glow of a book launch behind her. Andy is no longer the girl fetching coffee. She is a woman who has carved her own place in the industry. Yet the shadow of Miranda Priestly still looms large over her every decision. Their paths, once torn apart, are set to collide again. We then catch a glimpse of Emily Charlton, the sharp-tongued, razor-witted assistant who once fought for Miranda's approval. Emily has risen too, now running her own high-profile agency. A player in the new world of fashion where image and strategy mean everything. But even in her success, Emily's eyes flash with the same mixture of fear and respect whenever Miranda enters the room. The trailer hints at a dangerous triangle: Miranda, Andy, and Emily, three women bound by the past, each one fighting to claim their space in a future that promises chaos. The music swells, strings tightening, tension rising. We see snippets of new faces, young designers, social media icons, and ambitious players who threaten to upend everything Miranda once controlled. We see Andy locking horns with corporate boards, Emily making backroom deals, and Miranda watching from the shadows, plotting her move, and then it happens, the line that defines the trailer. Miranda, seated at a long table, surrounded by young executives buzzing about numbers, trends, and engagement rates, finally speaks, her voice is calm, smooth as silk, but it cuts sharper than any blade. Don't confuse relevance with power. Relevance fades, power endures, the screen cuts to black. The music stops. Only the words appear, bold, blinding. The devil returns. The trailer shifts its tone. The glamour of fashion runways and glossy magazine covers begins to fade into something sharper, more chaotic. We see the buzzing lights of smartphones, paparazzi flashes bursting like fireworks, and the endless scroll of social media feeds. The music quickens, a frantic tempo, telling us that the fashion world Miranda Priestly once ruled with an iron grip is no longer the same kingdom. The battlefield has changed. Miranda sits in the back of a sleek black car, her reflection mirrored against the glowing skyline of New York. Outside, billboards flash with the faces of influencers, men and women half her age, adored not for their elegance or authority, but for the number of followers and likes attached to their names. A voiceover from a faceless executive in the trailer whispers, "Fashion isn't about magazines anymore. It's about engagement." The words are almost venomous, daring Miranda to react. But she doesn't flinch. Instead, she adjusts her sunglasses, the faintest smirk brushing her lips. It is not submission. It is the look of a predator studying new prey. The trailer then cuts to Andy Sachs, now stepping into a world Miranda cannot ignore. Andy isn't just a journalist anymore, she has become a voice of reason in a fashion industry spiraling into chaos. We see her in conference rooms, commanding attention, her confidence a stark contrast to the nervous assistant she once was. She speaks about integrity, about the responsibility of fashion not only to dictate trends but to reflect society's struggles and growth. In one fiery scene, Andy slams her hand on a boardroom table. This industry has power, real power, and we can't waste it chasing hashtags. The moment is raw, emotional, the kind of speech that makes audiences lean forward, captivated. But the trailer teases us with more than just Andy's evolution. Emily Charlton makes her grand return, fierce, unapologetic, and more cutting than ever. Gone is the desperate assistant longing for approval. Now, Emily has built an empire of her own, an agency that thrives on the very world Miranda despises: branding, influence, image. In one scene, she walks through a sleek, neon-lit office, assistants following her every step, their tablets glowing with charts and data. "The future isn't print," Emily declares, her voice slicing through the room. "The future is perception, and I control it." The camera lingers on her face, her eyes sharp with ambition, as if she has finally found the power she always dreamed of. The conflict is clear: three women, each a force of nature, caught in a war over what fashion really means. Miranda, the embodiment of timeless power, refuses to bow to a world by clicks. Andy, the moral compass, fights for fashion to be more than just a spectacle, to be meaningful. And Emily, once overshadowed, now thrives as the queen of reinvention, embracing the chaos of digital fame to secure her own crown. But the trailer refuses to make this a simple battle. It hints at alliances as fragile as glass, promises that crack under pressure, and betrayals waiting in the shadows. In one quick cut, we see Andy and Emily in the same room, their voices clashing. "Andy, you're destroying everything we fought." For Emily, "No, I'm saving it. You're just too blind to see." The words hang heavy, and then the screen flashes to Miranda watching from afar. She doesn't speak, but her silence is louder than their arguments. It is as though she is letting them fight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The music slows, turning darker, heavier. We see Miranda walking down a runway, but this is no fashion show, it is a battlefield. Her steps are deliberate, her presence unshakable. The trailer teases whispers of her downfall, headlines flashing. Priestly outdated? Has fashion's queen lost her crown? But just as quickly we see her tearing the headlines apart. The sound of ripping paper echoing like thunder, and then comes the line that burns into the minds of everyone watching. A young influencer dares to challenge Miranda, laughing as cameras flash around them. "You're old news." Miranda turns, her gaze piercing, her words calm and cruel. "News fades. Legends remain." The screen cuts to a montage: Andy at a book launch, Emily commanding her empire, and Miranda standing in the shadows of skyscrapers, her silhouette cast like a goddess carved into the city itself. The clash is inevitable. Three women, three visions, one war for the soul of fashion. The trailer closes this section with a whisper, barely audible but chilling. The devil doesn't retire. She reinvents. The music crashes. The screen goes black. The title bursts across the screen: The Devil Wears Prada 2. The trailer shifts again, moving from the dazzling chaos of fashion runways and corporate boardrooms into something more personal, more dangerous. Behind every headline, behind every perfectly staged photo and flawless outfit, the trailer suggests a world of secrets waiting to explode. The music slows to a haunting piano note, each key pressed like a whisper of betrayal. We see Miranda seated at her desk, the same iconic office that once towered over Andy's life, but something has changed. The lighting is colder, the walls lined with digital screens instead of stacks of magazines. A single document lies on her desk, and as the camera zooms in, the words blur, but one word is clear: legacy. Miranda's fingers hover above the page, her face unreadable. For the first time, the queen of fashion looks not at others, but inward. The trailer teases us with the question: is Miranda Priestly preparing to step down, or is she preparing her deadliest move yet? The camera cuts sharply to Andy. She stands at a podium, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing in a frenzy. Her voice trembles for a moment, not with weakness, but with conviction. She speaks about corruption, about the cost of chasing perfection in an industry that eats people alive. The fashion world hides behind beauty, she declares, but beneath the silk, there are scars. Her words are raw, and the audience of the trailer knows instantly, this is not the same Andy Sachs who once carried Miranda's coffee. This is a woman who has seen the cost of power and refuses to be silent. Then comes Emily. Her world is one of control, but control built on shifting ground. We see her walking through the back halls of an exclusive gala, her phone buzzing with messages, her face sharp with tension. The camera cuts to a conversation she has with a shadowy figure, their face hidden, their words sharp. If you want to keep your empire, you'll have to burn hers. Emily doesn't answer, but her silence speaks volumes. The trailer hints at betrayal, at alliances built not on trust but on survival. Has Emily, once Miranda's most loyal soldier, now turned into the very kind of ruthless player Miranda once was? The tension rises as the trailer bombards us with flashes of scandals breaking across the fashion world. Headlines slam against the screen. Runway in crisis. Andy Sachs exposes industry secrets. Emily Charlton under fire for controversial deal. Each headline feels like a dagger, each one pulling these women closer to collision. The fashion empire is no longer a palace, it is a battlefield of betrayal and ambition, and yet Miranda is always there, her presence haunting every scene. A moment comes where Andy and Emily, once rivals, are forced into the same room, their faces pale under the glow of 100 cameras. Their voices clash, but then Miranda enters. The room falls silent. She doesn't shout. She doesn't scold. She simply leans forward and whispers, "You both still have so much to learn." It is the kind of line that cuts deeper than any. Scream, a reminder that Miranda Priestly does not need to fight with fists when her words are enough to destroy careers. But the trailer grows darker still. For the first time, it suggests that Miranda herself may not be untouchable. A mysterious file flashes on the screen, its contents hidden, but the words Priestly Scandal flicker in bold letters. For the first time, the queen may be vulnerable. The camera shows Miranda alone, staring out over the city at night, her hand trembling ever so slightly as she lifts a glass of wine. The trailer does not give answers, only questions. Is Miranda being hunted by her own past? Or is this just another trap she has set? Another move in a game no one else realizes they're playing? The piano gives way to a thunderous drumbeat as the montage accelerates. Andy is seen slamming a door, Emily is seen shredding documents, and Miranda is seen walking through flashing paparazzi lights, her face calm as the world around her spins into chaos. The words echo across the screen. Every queen has her secrets, every empire has its cracks, and when the truth comes out, the music cuts, silence, Miranda's voice whispers the final words of the section. Only one will remain standing. The screen fades to black, but the tension lingers, wrapping around the audience like smoke. This is no longer just about fashion. It is about survival, betrayal, and the price of power. The trailer builds to its climax, the music swelling like a storm ready to break. The glitter of the fashion world begins to peel away, revealing raw nerves, shattered loyalty, and ambition burning hotter than ever. Gone are the carefully staged runways and polished covers. In their place we see shadows, conflict, and the fire of women who refuse to lose. This is not a simple sequel. This is a war, and in war, only one legacy survives. The first image is a runway unlike any other. Not a celebration of elegance, but a battlefield staged beneath blinding white lights. The models march forward, their eyes cold, their steps like drum beats of war. But the camera pulls back, revealing the front row, a place once reserved for admiration. Now it is filled with tension. Andy sits stiffly, papers clutched in her hand, her eyes blazing as though she carries truths no one dares to speak. Emily is there too, her phone buzzing, her gaze sharp as she scans the crowd for enemies. And then, at the very center, sits Miranda Priestly, perfect, untouchable, a single movement of her hand. And the entire room seems to hold its breath. The narration deepens, the voice heavy with finality. Power is not given, it is taken. And in fashion, the price of power is everything. The trailer explodes into a frenzy of images, Andy shouting into microphones, Emily slamming a contract. Onto a table, Miranda brushing past a crowd of cameras without a glance. Each scene is a fragment of chaos, but together they form a story. These women are on a collision course, and nothing will stop it. One scene lingers, Andy and Emily face to face in a darkened office. Their words are knives sharpened by years of rivalry and resentment. Andy, you think you've become her, but you're not Miranda. You'll never be Miranda. Emily, no, I'll be worse. The camera cuts to Miranda herself, alone in her office, watching the city lights burn. For the first time, there is a shadow of weariness in her eyes. But weariness does not mean defeat. She leans forward, whispering as though speaking to herself, yet her words echo for everyone. The throne is not abandoned. It is defended. The trailer crescendos as secrets erupt into public scandals. Leaked files, explosive headlines, whispered betrayals. A boardroom vote flashes across the screen, hands raised in judgment. Andy storms out of the room, her face pale, but her resolve unbroken. Emily slams a door, her empire shaking beneath her feet. And Miranda, ever the queen, simply straightens her coat and walks through the chaos as if the storm exists only to spotlight her. The final montage strikes like lightning. Andy in tears, clutching a manuscript. Emily staring into a mirror, her reflection fractured like broken glass. Miranda standing on a rooftop, the wind tearing at her coat, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Then silence, a single spotlight falls onto Miranda. The room is dark, her figure the only shape in the void. She turns slowly, her voice calm, unshaken, devastating. The devil does not fear the future fears the devil. The words burn across the screen as the music crashes, an orchestra of thunder and fire. The trailer cuts to black, and in bold silver letters the title appears, The Devil Wears Prada 2, A Beat of Silence. Then the final whisper, coming soon. And the screen fades out.